Yeah, not everybody. A lot of people. But you look.
Will find me where the love light gleams. I'll be home for Christmas, if only in my dreams. If only in my dreams. Again.
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 Yeah.
Right.
Do you want to do that?
Yeah.
I was
And
thinking
I
about
want
it.
to put my little cheese on you again. I just need those 4 notes before we start.
Okay.
And that
That's
right
impressive.
target right there.
Park it.
The intro that she's playing is almost screwing me up a little bit, honestly.
Oh, okay.
But if it's better for you guys. Mistletoe and presents on the tree. Christmas Eve will find me where the love light gleams. I'll be home for Christmas, if only in my dreams. If only in my dreams.
And we need to look at each other for the closing
Yes, we do.
final notes.
Well, you don't have to look directly, you can just see around the corner.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, you know, why don't you just go ahead out there and we'll look at you. Well,
Okay.
Whatever, no, whatever. I think we all took it.
Karen, you're still grabbing my notes.
Thank you.
Okay,
Okay, you're still grabbing my notes, stay on the beat.
I think it did help to switch
No.
that one.
I asked her to turn up just a hair because I can't hear her at all.
That's fine, that's fine. No, you don't do home, you just do home.
ah,
And then it's,
Yep,
that, since that's the only one there, it's making kind of an empty chord
Yep.
without that piece.
I'm gonna put little viewing glasses there.
Okay.
All right, and so Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Fredericksburg. We are situated on the ancestral homelands of the Rappahannock and Potomac tribes, and where enslaved people were forced to work on the land. We acknowledge that this land holds many histories, great stories, and the blood of a people.
Good morning. Would you join me standing if you're able and willing? And we're going to sing together a couple of verses of that Christmas copy. The words should be on your screen for you. Thank you. You may be seated.
Good morning. I'm Kristen Tuxbury, and I use she, her pronouns, and I'll be your worship associate this morning. Here at the UUFF, we come together, both in person and online, as one community. We strive to nurture learning, inspire spiritual insights, create compassionate relationships, and lovingly transform our community and the world. If you are joining us as a guest or a first-time visitor here in the building or online, we are glad you are here. Those in the building are invited to leave their contact information with the welcome table in the foyer. For those joining us online, you are invited to visit the worship portal on our website at uuffxbg.org and fill out a connection card. Whether in person or online, this will allow our ministers and staff to get in contact with you in the week to come. Everyone is invited to fill out a personal significant joy or concern that you would like to have shared during a future service. For those in person, you may pick up a card and leave it at the Joys and Concerns table, which is also in the foyer. For those joining us online, you are once again invited to visit the worship portal on our website and fill out a Joys and Concerns form. Our pastoral care team member will collect the in-person cards and read them in a later service. For those online, your Joys and Concerns will be read at the next service. Please join us after the service for coffee and conversation. In the spirit of greeting, I invite us to greet one another. For those joining online, please share your greetings in the chat. It is so good to have you with us today. Please join me in reading in unison our words for lighting the chalice. We light this chalice to celebrate Unitarian Universalism, this church of open mind, this church of helping hands. This is the church of loving hearts. Together we prepare for the earth, work for good and peace in our world.
Today is the fourth Sunday of Advent. This evening, Christmas Eve. So this morning, we light the candle of hope, of peace, of joy, and of love. Sometimes love takes a little more to get lit. In this time, we know that all of these are present, even in moments when they seem fleeting. So may there be peace, hope, joy, and love this season.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Reverend Doug McCusker. I use he, his, him pronouns, and I am the minister here at the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Fredericksburg. And it is so nice to see you on this Christmas Eve morning. I have been asked to share a sacred story. And the one that I chose today is Miracle on 10th Street, written by Madeline Langle. A snapshot of a little girl, a piano, and a Christmas tree. What could be more ordinary, more normal, more safe? But it wasn't safe that Christmas. It might have been ordinary and normal, because what happened to us happens to many. But it wasn't safe. This little girl, our first child, is looking wistfully at the tree, at her usual expression, and her usual expression was vital, mischievous, full of life. But that Christmas, she was wilted, like a flower left too long without water. She sat with her toy telephone and had long, quiet conversations with her lion. You can never talk while the lion is busy, she would explain. She didn't run when we took her to the park. She was not hungry. I bathed her and felt her body, and there were swollen glands in her groin, her armpits. We took her to the doctor. He looked over our heads and used big medical words. I stopped him. What you are saying is that you think she has leukemia, isn't it? Suddenly he looked us in the eye. When he knew that we knew what he feared, he treated us with compassion and concern. We knew the symptoms because the child of a friend of ours had died of leukemia. We knew. We took our little girl to the hospital for tests, and she was so brave that her very gallantry brought tears to my eyes. We went home to our small apartment and sat in the big chair and told stories and knew that we would have several days wait for the test results because of the holidays. My husband was an actor. I am a writer, Madeline Langle. Like most artists, we had vivid imaginations. We tried hard not to project onto the unknown future, to live right where we were, in a small apartment on 10th Street in New York City. We loved our apartment, where we slept on a couch in the living room. To get to the bedroom, we had to walk through the kitchen and then to the bathroom. At that time, Leonard Bernstein lived on the top floor and would occasionally knock on our door to leave his suitcases when he did not want to make the long climb up the stairs. We were happy. My husband was playing on Broadway. I had 2 books published and was working on a 3rd. We had a beautiful child. And suddenly, the foundations rocked beneath us. We understood tragedy and that no one is immune. We remembered a church in New England where, carved in the wood of the lintel, are the words, "Remember, no is an answer." My mother grew up in a world of Bible stories, and I thought of the marvelous story of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. These three young men refused to bow down to an idol, a golden image, and King Nebuchadnezzar was so furious that he ordered them to be thrown into a furnace so hot that the soldiers who threw them into the fire were killed by the heat. But Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego stood there in the flames, unhurt, and sang a praise of all creation. King Nebuchadnezzar was astonished and asked, "Did we not cast 3 men bound into the fire?" They answered, "True, O king." He replied, "But I see 4 men loose, walking in the midst of the fire, and they are not hurt. And the appearance of the 4th is like the Son of God." And that, perhaps, is the most astounding part of the whole story. That God did not take Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego out of the fiery furnace. God was in the flames with them. Yes, it is a marvelous story. But I thought, I am not Shadrach, Meshach, or Abednego, and the flames burn. I rocked my child and told her stories and prayed incoherent prayers. We turned on the lights of the Christmas tree, lit a fire in our fireplace, turned out all the other lights, and I managed to sing lullabies without letting my voice break or my tears flow. When my husband got home from the theater, we put her to bed and we held each other. We knew that the promise has never been of safety, or that bad things would not happen if we were good and virtuous. The promise is only that God is in it with us, no matter what it is. Even before the test results came from the hospital, our little girl began to revive, to laugh, to wriggle as we sat together on the piano bench to sing carols. Our hearts began to lift as we saw full life returning to her. And the tests, when they were returned, indicated that she had had an infection. It was not leukemia. She was going to be all right. She is now a beautiful young woman with children of her own. And she has gone through her own moments of terror when her eldest child was almost killed by a car. I suspect that most parents know these times. I know that the outcome is not always the one we pray for. In my own life, there have been times when the answer has indeed been no. My husband died, and I will miss him forever. This past July 28th, the car I was in was hit by a truck, and I was almost killed. I am still recuperating and wondering by what miracle my life was saved, and for what purpose. Certainly everything is more poignant. Were the autumn leaves this year more radiant than usual? What about the tiny new moon I saw last night? And my family and my friends, have I ever loved them as much as I love them now? I think back to that Christmas when my husband and I did not know whether our little girl would live to grow up. Between that Christmas and this, there have been many times when I have been in the fiery furnace. But I am beginning to understand that who is in there with me, and that when I need it, I am given courage I never knew I had. Every day is a miracle, and I hope that is something that I will never forget.
Thank you, Reverend Doug. I invite you now to join us and stand as we sing a couple of Christmas carols. We're going to have the bells playing with us. Let's sing together the first verse of Joy to the World. It's the first Noel. The words will be on the screen for you.
asked to speak about what Christmas means to me, and this is something I haven't really thought about before. As a kid, I remember huge Christmas celebrations with my whole family, and we would get into nice clothes, and we would all eat together. And I was the oldest of all of my siblings and cousins, so I remember when this was really just me and a bunch of adults. I also remember the Christmas decorations that I saw when my dad left, and my mom cried. And I remember the Christmas decorations that were up when the police came to my abusive babysitter's house, and then I never went there again. I remember the year that my Christmas was small, and later my mom told me that my grandparents bought gifts and gave them to her, and she put her name on them and gave them to me because she didn't have any money. I remember not wanting to celebrate with my cousins because they had more money than us, and they were always disappointed about something that they didn't get. Christmas was inconsistent and complicated. And as someone who isn't Christian, as an adult, I thought about celebrating Yule instead, a holiday that I feel much more spiritually connected to. And it's something that some of my family does. And then my family decided to boil Christmas down to what was most important. It was a day that usually none of us had to work, and we could spend it together. So we would exchange gifts to each other in the morning, and then in the afternoon, we would go to a movie, and then we would go to dinner out so that my mom didn't have to cook anything. And then I got married, and now I have new traditions on the night of the 24th. I love Christmas carols and movies, and I love getting gifts for my family. So Christmas is still inconsistent and complicated, and sometimes it doesn't live up to the hype. But I've accepted that it's a part of my culture. And I've learned to embrace Christmas for it just being another day, but also being a time of the year that's magical and special.
Greetings and glad tidings, beloveds.
So in these magical moments, sometimes technology decides to be magical as well and disappears. So I'm going to ask our wonderful tech team, who so often goes unnoticed and who do not get praise. Let's give them a round of applause as they vote to reset the system. And while they are doing that, I would say what comes up next is a video by the president of the Unitarian Universalist Association, the Reverend Dr. Sophia Betancourt. And once the tech team has that queued up, we will be able to see that video. So Maddie, until that happens, can you play us a little music? Well, they won't see it. I don't know what they're seeing online right this second. So yeah, let's just hear a little music and reflect on the mystery and the complicatedness of Christmas.
Greetings and glad tidings, beloveds, as we come together in this season of peace. As people around the world join together in prayer, in hopefulness, in striving and possibility, I bring you love, intention, gratitude, and hope from your Unitarian Universalist Association. I know that these times have been difficult, that we have been holding together this image of peace in the Holy Lands, peace in places that are central to many of us, in our ancestry and in our prayers for humanity. But remember, in these times that traditions and peoples across the globe are coming together for renewal, for possibility, for community. For Unitarian Universalists, we lean into the beauty, the goodness that we hold together in common cause. And as we head into the turning of the year, my prayer for you is that this will be a time of family, a time of healing, a time of recommitment and dedication to the things that bring joy, bring justice, bring peace, and bring meaning to our lives. Know that your Unitarian Universalist Association is with you, not only in preparing for all that is to come in 2024, but in gratitude for all that you have done and been in 2023. Glad tidings, beloveds, blessings on your holidays, and we look forward to being with you for all the years to come. Be blessed.
And please join us for when we sing our song of celebration.
Feliz Navidad, Feliz Navidad, Feliz Navidad, prospero año y felicidad. Feliz Navidad, Feliz Navidad, Feliz Navidad, prospero año y felicidad. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas with lots of presents to make you happy. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas from the bottom of my heart. Feliz Navidad, Feliz Navidad, Feliz Navidad, Feliz Navidad, Feliz Navidad, prospero año y felicidad. Feliz Navidad, Feliz Navidad, Feliz Navidad, Feliz Navidad, Feliz Navidad, prospero año y felicidad. Felicidad, I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas with mistletoe and lots of cheer, with lots of laughter throughout the years from the bottom of my heart. Feliz Navidad, Merry Christmas to you. Feliz Navidad, Feliz Navidad.
Kristen, you're on. We're just waiting.
During the offertory, you're invited to come forward and silently place a pebble into the bowl of water for any joys and concerns that you're holding on your heart. When you give to the UUFF, you help us to nurture learning, inspire spiritual insights, and lovingly transform our community and the world. For those gathered in person, greeters will be coming around with baskets for donations. All are also invited to donate via text message to the number 844-963-2785. And this number will appear on the screen. You may may also visit the website at uuffxbg.org. The offertory will now be given and received.
Please have snow and mistletoe and presents on the tree. Christmas Eve will find me where the love light gleams. I behold for Christmas, if only in my dreams, if only in my dreams.
May all that has been shared and freely given here help us to grow in generosity and caring for the world of which we are a part.
I invite you now to join me in a time of meditation, silence, stillness, prayer. You may close your eyes if that feels comfortable, and if not, you can look on the floor or at something in front of you, a point. Just find a single point to focus on. And as you do that, sink into your seat. Sink into your seat and let your body just relax, and notice what kind of breathing comes naturally when you do that. And go with that breathing. Breathe in and breathe out. Let the tension fall away. We all come from different backgrounds. For some of us, we celebrated Christmas as children, as teenagers, as young adults, and maybe still now. I invite you to see in your mind's eye not something literal, but something that gives you that feeling of these holidays, of peace, of joy, of kindness toward others, of stillness in the dark nights, of candles, of Christmas trees, mistletoe, garish displays in front of houses, of food, of kindness. Can you see kindness? Can you feel it? Joy and peace in your heart? And if not, just the feeling of being here with many people celebrating together. Is that not the spirit of Christmas? To be with one another in love, to open our hearts for each other. And yes, to sing and tell stories. You may now open your eyes and come back to this room. And I hope that feeling stays with you today, tomorrow, and into the new year. Merry Christmas and happy holidays.
So, we heard Christians say that it's complicated. And it is indeed complicated. And there's mystery in the air. This morning, there was mystery as to why the screens refuse to work. Maybe it's the Christmas elves saying that we need to go back to a time before all of this. Back to a time before we gathered. To a time to really wonder what the true meaning of Christmas is. So I don't know about you, but growing up, when the air grew crisp outside and the nights grew longer, as snow sometimes drifted in the sky, I always felt like it was always winter, but never Christmas. As Harmless in C.S. Lewis' book, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe would say, always winter and never Christmas. And to be honest, I never really got the Christmas story, even growing up Christian. You know that story of a miracle birth from a virgin who travels with her partner to Bethlehem, the one where a mother is looking for a place to give birth when there is no room in the inn. So she gives birth in a manger, surrounded by animals. The story where shepherds come with gifts from afar as they see a star that guides them to the manger. To see a miraculously born King of Kings. I used to think that Christmas was some far-off fairy tale. And maybe it is. Or maybe, just maybe, I was missing the real message of Christmas because I was lost and disconnected with the story. And from my heart, the mystery of it all, and the mystery of the world around me. Maybe I was trying to make sense of a mysterious force that knows no reason, and that only asks that we simply be willing to be present with ourselves and the world around us. So this year, connected to the world around us, I have to wonder, what is the mystery of Christmas all about? What if the Christmas story is simply one of love and welcome, welcoming the immigrant who seeks refuge, welcoming the trans person fleeing unsafe conditions in unsafe states due to unsafe laws, welcoming the single father, raising his little one as his partner lives with drug addiction and is in and out of prison. What if the mystery of the Christmas season is about holding space for those who wonder where their next meal will come, holding space for those who wonder if their car will start in the morning so they can get to work, to feed their families, to keep a roof over their head, so that they'll have just enough money to pay their bills, and maybe, just maybe, a little bit more. What if the Christmas story is about inviting us to hold space for a world that is aching and longing for peace? Holding space for those in Israel and Palestine who long for peace on nights when the air grows cold and there is no peace and it is not a silent night. Holding space for Bethlehem in the West Banks at Christmas time, when the rooftops of City Hall are normally packed with cameras, looking down at a Christmas tree in Manger Square as the bells toll midnight for Mass at the Church of the Nativity, built upon the grotto where the tradition where Jesus was born. This year in Bethlehem, there were no trees. There were no parades, no bands, no music, no lights, no markets, no tourists. This year, in the mystery of Christmas, Jesus entered the world amidst a pile of rubble in Gaza. Christmas, at its core, is a season of wonder, a time of reflection. It is true that it is a time to pause and contemplate the mystery, the embodiment of it all, the divine taking on a human form. In our UU traditions, where individual beliefs vary widely, we do find common ground in shared awe and reverence in the mystery that shapes, has shaped, and continues to shape our experiences.
Sing me now of Christmas, Noel, sing me near. Hear our grateful praises to the babe so dear. Sing we Noel, the child is born Noel. Sing me now of Christmas, sing we now Noel. Angels call to shepherds, leave your flocks at rest. Journey forth to Bethlehem, find the child so blessed. Sing we Noel, the child is born Noel. Sing we now of Christmas, sing we now Noel.
Sing we now of Christmas and Noel, in a time of mystery and wonder. In our Unitarian Universalist movements, faith traditions converge, and we have a unique opportunity to appreciate the common thread that runs through each mystical tradition, including one that I hold dear, Christian mysticism. In his book, The Big Book of Christian Mysticism, an essential guide to contemplative spiritualities, Carl McClung summarizes the wisdom and teaching of great mystics over the past 2,000 years. No easy task, I'm sure. And names that the real message of Christianity and of Christian mysticism is that God is love. God is love and wants everyone to enjoy meaningful and abundant life The message abiding in love, love of God, love of self, love of neighbor, through prayer, worship, meditation, silence, communing with that which is sacred, experiencing divine presence, finding in our hearts and our minds to be transformed by the Spirit, so that we may participate in the loving nature of it all, and be healed and renewed in love, even to the point when we become one with love. So ends his summary. The emphasis on love, compassion, interconnectedness of all beings aligns, perhaps perfectly, with our diverse community. Christian mysticism and Unitarian Universalism beckon us to explore the contemplative practices that began every tradition throughout history. Practices such as centering prayer, meditation, contemplative readings, opening doorways to deeper understandings of our own spiritual selves, and foster a sense of unity with whatever it is or isn't is that we name as the divine. So as I reflect on Christian mysticism, I wonder, is it about honoring the quest for direct experience and recognizing the beauty in our shared spiritual awakening? I would invite our UU communities to remain a sanctuary for seekers, the mythics, the mystics, for those who find inspiration in profound mystery that unites, for those that wonder where the mystery is, for those who perhaps engage in justice. As we all remember and name that the Christmas mystery that started so long ago invites us to have love, to have compassion, and to show generosity. We are challenged to look beyond the surface of familiar stories and traditions, to delve into the profound messages they convey. Whether we connect with the Nativity, the symbol of light overcoming darkness, the sun fleeing the sky, as solstice rose around, the lights of menorah, perhaps for some not gathered here, the lights of Kwanzaa. Whatever it is this season, our Unitarian Universalist tradition transcends all the religious bounds and speaks to a shared human experience. Come on, cried the beaver, who was almost dancing with delight, as C.S. Lewis writes, come and see, this is a nasty knock for the white witch indeed. Her power is already crumbling. It was a sleigh with reindeer and bells on their harness. And on the sleigh sat someone everyone recognized in that moment, a bright red robe, bright holly berries, and a hood of fur, with a beard that fell like a foamy waterfall. I've come at last, he said. She has kept me out for quite a long time, but I've got in at last. Aslan is on the move. Her magic is weakening. And so, in a time of winter, in a time of the Christmas season, in a time when perhaps Some magic is weakening, the magic of hatred, of fear, of division, weakening. May we, as Unitarian Universalists, lean ever more so into that direct experience, the transcending mystery, the wonder that we know affirmed in all cultures. May we move to the renewal of spirit, be open to the forces which create and uphold life. May we know the true spirit of Christmas. May we embrace it, even in those moments like perhaps right now, for so many, when it feels like always winter and never Christmas. So Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Ashe, and so may it be.
Our closing songs this morning is going to be a medley of Christmas carols. We're going to put the words on the screen for you, but that's not going to happen, so we're going to rely on your memory. We're just singing the first verse of each one, so hopefully they're familiar enough that you'll feel comfortable. So will you join us standing? And let's sing together. Start off with Angels We Have Heard From On High.
Angels
as the hopes and fears are fleeting, may we go forth, continuing to bring the light of love, of truth, of justice, of peace and healing in a world that needs our Unitarian Universalism now more than ever.
Please join me in speaking in unison our words for extinguishing the chalice if you remove it. We extinguish this chalice, but not the light of love and service. May it be a catalyst for spiritual growth and social justice as we carry it outside these walls into the world we live in until we are together again. Go in peace, serve the world, return again in love.